Ladies and gentlemen, gather close. Today we speak of something as old as time itself, the silent, creeping consequence of betrayal. They thought they could play with fire and never feel the burn. They thought they could put you through hell, drag you through the mud, strip you of your dignity, and then walk away unscathed. They laughed as they left you shattered, discarded like a forgotten relic, reveling in their victory, believing themselves untouchable. But there's one thing they failed to consider a truth, as immutable as the turning of the tides. What goes around always comes around. Oh, how generously they dealt out torment, how carelessly they wielded their cruelty, slicing through your heart with the precision of a blade honed by years of deception. They made you question everything, every thought, every memory, every fragment of self-worth you clung to in the dead of night. They fed you lies wrapped in honey, whispered false promises into your eager ears, only to rip them away when you least expected it, leaving you gasping for air, drowning in the weight of their betrayal. But what they failed to see, what their arrogance blinded them to, was that you were not breaking. No, you were being forged. Every insult hurled your way, every betrayal etched into your bones, every moment of despair that clawed at your soul, each one was fuel. They mistook your suffering for weakness, never realizing that suffering does not break the strong. It tempers them, hones them, turns them into something unstoppable. While they strutted through life, confident in their invulnerability, you were transforming. And now, as the tide shifts, as the winds change, they find themselves staring into the same abyss they once cast you into, but this time, there is no one to pull them back. There is a cruel, poetic justice in watching the powerful fall, is there not? They carried themselves like gods, as if the world bent to their will, as if consequence was something that happened to other people, never to them. They played their games, manipulated, controlled, discarded, convinced that they were immune to fate's ever-turning wheel. But fate has a way of collecting its dues, and now they are beginning to understand the sting of their own venom. Every sleepless night you endured, every anxious thought that gnawed at your sanity, every tear shed in silence, it all returns to them now, doubled, relentless, merciless. Oh, how certain they were of your fragility, how eagerly they underestimated the resilience of the human spirit. They thought you were weak, thought you would crumble under the weight of their betrayal. But what they failed to grasp is that those who have walked through hell are no longer afraid of flames. You emerged from the inferno, stronger, wiser, untouchable, and them, they are not so lucky. Now they feel it. The emptiness, the loss, the gnawing sense of unease that refuses to be silenced. They wake in the dead of night, breathless, haunted by shadows of their own making. They look around for solace, for distraction, but find only ghost whispers of the lies they told, echoes of the trust they shattered. The walls they built to keep their conscience at bay are crumbling, and in the wreckage, they are left with only themselves, only their own actions staring back at them, unblinking, unforgiving. They thought they could leave the past behind, that time would wash away their sins, that their wrongdoings would be forgotten, buried beneath the rush of life moving forward. But some things do not fade. Some wounds fester, and now the weight of every soul they wronged, every heart they broke, every love they dismissed, it presses down upon them with a force they can no longer ignore. It is poetic, is it not? The way the universe demands balance, the way justice finds its way through even the darkest of nights. Perhaps they will look for someone to blame, some scapegoat to shoulder the burden of their regret. But there is no one left. The people they pushed away, the ones they manipulated, used, discarded, none remain. They stand alone, drowning in the wreckage of their own making. They will remember then how they made you feel, the suffocating helplessness, the unbearable ache of betrayal, the hollowness that settled into your bones as you realized they never truly cared. And they will feel it too, tenfold, with no one to save them. You gave them chances, didn't you? Extended kindness where none was deserved, offered them opportunities to change, to see, to be better. But they laughed at your mercy, mistook your patience for naivety. They saw compassion as something to exploit, love as a weapon to wield. But where is their laughter now? Where is their certainty? Patience they mocked has vanished. The kindness they trampled is nowhere to be found. They are left with only their own reflection, a hollow, soulless shell of the person they pretended to be. They will remember. Oh, they will remember every moment they made you feel small, every time they twisted the knife just to watch you bleed. And they will learn, too late, that karma does not forget. It does not forgive. It does not play favorites. It brings balance. And now, at last, the scales have tipped. The cruelest punishment of all is not fire or fury, not rage or ruin. It is silence. It is the emptiness that lingers when the masks fall away, when the distractions fade, when there is nowhere left to run. It is the prison of their own making, a cage crafted by their own hands. And, as they sit in that silence, alone with nothing but the echoes of their own mistakes, they will understand, with absolute certainty, what it means to reap what they have sown. They'll realize, far too late, that there's none to be found, no solace, no comfort, no escape. The reckoning they never saw coming is here, and now they must stand in the ruins of their own making, the weight of their choices pressing down upon them like an iron shroud. Every misstep, every deceit, every calculated cruelty they once delivered with a smirk has come full circle, and now it is they who must bear the unbearable. They have sown their own suffering, scattered their betrayals like careless seeds upon the wind, never stopping to consider what might take root in the soil they so thoughtlessly poisoned. And now, the harvest has arrived, bitter, relentless, unyielding. Every lie they whispered, every back they turned, every trust they shattered, has bloomed into a consequence they can no longer outrun. There is no refuge from what they have set into motion. They must reap it all, taste every acrid drop of the poison they poured into the world, and learn, too late, that some wounds never heal, some mistakes can never be undone. And you are free. Untethered, unburdened, no longer bound by the chains they tried to clasp around you, no longer weighed down by their cruelty, their manipulation, their games. They thought they'd leave you broken, a husk of who you once were, a casualty of their reckless disregard for the hearts of others. But they miscalculated. They failed to see that you were never fragile. You were simply waiting, gathering, evolving. They did not leave you in ruins. Instead, they left you stronger, sharper, more resilient than they could ever comprehend. You do not need revenge. You have transcended it. You understand now that their suffering is not a prize to be savored, not a trophy to be displayed. It is simply the natural consequence of their own making, the inevitable retribution woven into the very fabric of cause and effect. And that is the difference between you and them. While they wade through the wreckage, every step heavy with the weight of their own actions, they begin to see, with mounting dread, what they have lost. They may not speak of it, not yet, not aloud. Pride is a stubborn thing, clinging to them like armor even as it corrodes from within. But deep in the marrow of their bones, they know. They know they had something real, something true, something rare, and they threw it away. They gambled with hearts and lives, playing their games with the arrogant assumption that no debt would ever come due. But now, with every passing day, that arrogance is all they have left. And it is not enough. It gnaws at them, a parasite burrowing deep, whispering reminders of their own downfall. The lies they once wielded so easily now ring hollow in their ears. The betrayals they shrugged off now return as ghosts that do not rest. Nights grow longer, darker, more suffocating, because they are not haunted by some external force. No, the ghost that follows them now is themselves. Every missed opportunity, every moment they could have chosen kindness, honesty, loyalty, it all rises to the surface, an unrelenting tide they cannot hold back. They will reach for distractions, for empty victories, for fleeting comforts that might dull the ache, but none will suffice. Because the void they now face is not one that can be filled with indulgence or temporary relief. It is a hollow space carved from their own choices, their own arrogance, their own disregard for what truly mattered. They will search for someone to blame, someone to pin this suffering upon, because taking responsibility is foreign to them. But the truth, no matter how they twist and contort it, remains unyielding. There is no one left to hold accountable but themselves, no one to carry this burden but the one who created it. And that realization, when it finally takes root, will be their undoing. They will reach out, their fingers grasping desperately in the dark, searching for the warmth they once took for granted. They will try to forge new connections, to find in others what they squandered in you. But it will never be the same, because you were their sanctuary, their solace, the one who saw them, truly saw them, and chose to stay. The one who, despite their flaws, despite their games, despite their cruelty, still believed there was something worth saving. And in trying to tear you down and taking your presence, your patience, your kindness for granted, they unknowingly severed their own lifeline. The irony is cruel, isn't it? They will wander through faces, through places, searching for another to soothe them, to give them the grace they once received without question, but no one else will have the same patience. No one else will stand by them as you once did, because when they mistreated you, when they dismissed you, they set a precedent. They taught the world exactly how they expect to be treated. And now, it is all coming back to them in ways they never foresaw, from places they never suspected. And as they come face to face with these consequences, as the loneliness they once inflicted upon you coils around them like a suffocating fog, it will not be the external losses that cut the deepest. No, the true agony will come from within. Because now, for the first time, they are truly seeing themselves. No masks, no excuses, no distractions. Just them and the unflinching truth of who they are, who they have chosen to be. And it is not a sight they can bear to witness. They will try to push the blame away, silence the voice inside that calls them to account. But that voice is relentless. It does not waver, does not falter, does not let them escape. Their actions have painted a brutal, inescapable portrait of who they are, and it is one they will struggle to live with for the rest of their days. Perhaps, in some twisted way, they will finally come to understand what you felt, the loneliness, the frustration, the hurt they so carelessly dismissed as weakness. But now, there is no one left to save them from it, no one to soften the edges, no one to stand beside them in the storm. And so, they will endure it. They'll realize, far too late, that it was never your weakness they toyed with, it was your strength. A strength they mistook for submission, for something they could manipulate at will, bending it, twisting it, thinking they could mold you into something lesser. They believed, in their arrogance, that they could wield your kindness as a weapon against you, that they could siphon your light and leave you empty. But now, they are the ones standing in the shadows, groping for a presence that is no longer there, searching for the very light they so carelessly discarded. And in this darkness of their own making, there is no escape, no reprieve. Their thoughts, once filled with self-assurance and games, are now infested with memories they cannot erase. The echoes of laughter once shared with you have turned into hollow ghosts, haunting them in the stillness of the night. The warmth you so freely gave the solace they never cherished has become an unreachable mirage, a painful reminder of all they lost. They'll try to suppress these memories, to drown them in distractions, but memories have a way of resurfacing, clawing at the edges of their mind, like an unrelenting whisper in the dark. A whisper that grows louder with each passing moment of solitude, with each silence that now carries a weight they cannot bear. No matter how far they run, how many facades they wear, they will always be accompanied by the aching void they created. So let them sit in this silence. Let them stew in the emptiness of their own design. You do not need to utter a single word, for your silence is the loudest reckoning they will ever face. It is the verdict that needs no explanation, the consequence they never saw coming. A judgment passed, not by anger, not by vengeance, but by the simple and undeniable truth of cause and effect. And while they wander through the wreckage of a life they thought they controlled, you are free, unshackled, rising, thriving in ways they will never comprehend. Because they only ever understood destruction, they never knew what it meant to truly rebuild. You have walked through the fire, endured its scorching heat, and emerged unburned, stronger, wiser, untouchable. And now, as they finally begin to feel the first sting of the flames they once set upon you, they realize they were never immune to their own cruelty. As the days stretch into weeks, they will search, desperately, restlessly, seeking someone who can fill the void they dug within themselves. They will smile for the world, pretend that they are whole, feign happiness with practiced ease. But deep within, the emptiness grows wider, darker, consuming every fleeting moment of peace they try to grasp. No indulgence will be enough, no distraction sufficient, because regret does not whisper, it roars. It gnaws at them like a relentless hunger, a wound that festers beneath every forced smile and hollow laugh. And in those rare, unguarded moments of quiet, they'll wonder. They'll question whether they'll ever truly live without what they lost, if they can ever know peace again, if they even deserve it. So let them search. Let them wander through the remnants of what could have been. Let them grasp at fragments of the love they threw away, the trust they shattered, the loyalty they abused. Let them stand before the ruin of their own making, unable to escape the weight of their own actions. Because while they remain bound to their past, shackled by the consequences they tried to outrun, you are moving forward free, unbroken, and untouchable. Let them feel the flames they once kindled. Let them walk through the hell they created. Let them carry, for once, the burden of their own choices. And while they dwell in regret, bitterness, and self-inflicted emptiness, you walk ahead light, unburdened, rising like a phoenix from the ashes of a fire that was never meant to destroy you, but only to forge you into something greater.